Last night, President Trump signed new 25% tariffs.
Turn now to the latest on President Trump saying that he will impose new tariffs on aluminum and steel.
Before we start with this, President Trump is back at the White House after attending Super Bowl 59 last night and says that more new tariffs will be announced today. This time, he's imposing tariffs on 25% of all steel and aluminum imports coming into the United States.
Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about aluminum, sir?
Aluminum too.
10%?
25%.
25 for aluminum as well.
25 for both.
Sometimes a single pronouncement may completely upend global trade. In this situation, U.S. President Donald Trump's decision of a 25% tax on steel and aluminum is causing a stir on the global scene. The decision is so stunning that Canada and the European Union have suddenly teamed together. With combined retaliatory actions, the temperature of the worldwide trade war has risen dramatically. The big issue on everyone's mind is if this means the end of the long-standing transatlantic relationship. Is this a transient crisis? First and foremost, where did the United States decision originate from? Donald Trump claims that steel and aluminum imports jeopardize national security. Partners, on the other hand, consider this reasoning artificial and protectionist. Many nations, including China, Canada, the European Union, and Latin American countries, consider U.S. tariffs to be unwarranted. This time, however, the fact that Canada and the European Union are both contemplating a countermove makes it much more intriguing. Major economies, like the United Kingdom, Germany, France, and Italy, have tight economic links to the United States. Canada, on the other hand, has been seen as the United States' closest neighbor and preferred partner since the NAFTA negotiations. They are now all expressing retribution against Washington. According to insiders, Trump is pushing tariffs as a vital action to preserve U.S. interests. British reports underline the decision's triggering role with the title, "Trump Announces 25% Hike in Aluminum and Steel Tariffs." According to American insiders, China is at the core of this action, and Trump's primary purpose may be to apply pressure on Beijing. However, the United States allies, like Canada and the European Union, were the first to be targeted. So, what precisely are these tariffs aimed at? Steel and aluminum are essential raw materials for several industries. From the global automobile sector to aviation, building projects to consumer goods, the costs of these two metals influence a wide range of items. The United States' hefty tariffs might disrupt the global supply chain. Canada has historically been the number one or two source of steel imports into the United States. The European Union countries are also significant suppliers to the United States. The imposition of such tariffs would increase expenses for both exporting enterprises and the U.S. domestic market. Because local manufacturing in the United States is not able to supply this need quickly. This begs the question, aren't you harming your own people? What is the choice of Canada and the European Union to retaliate? Usually, in tariff wars, a counter-tariff measure is taken. That is, applying equivalent or greater tariffs on items imported from the United States. However, Canada and the European Union want to widen the scope this time. Additional duties, for example, are planned on everything from agricultural items to electronics and maybe American-made drinks. This might start an all-out trade war. Donald Trump's approach is straightforward. We must safeguard our country. We'll win. But economists insisted on asking, what if you lose? Because most trade battles have ended with everyone losing. Protectionist policies may benefit certain manufacturers in the short term, but in the medium to long term, they might result in increased costs, fewer innovations, and market losses. China, on the other hand, appears to be watching this development from a distance. But in truth, it is the primary goal of the U.S. move. Beijing controls the majority of the world's steel output. Trump's action is regarded as a response to China's aggressive trade policies. However, the fact that Canada and the European Union have received similar treatment demonstrates that Washington is also targeting its friends. One of the concerns on the table is if this step signals the end of the transatlantic relationship. The United States and the European Union have been strong political and economic partners since World War II. They are also linked by military alliances like NATO. Outside of the NAFTA process, Canada and the United States enjoy a strong neighborhood and alliance connection. The latest event might signal a far deeper split, or it could be a fresh round of comparable tensions that have already happened and will be handled via diplomacy in due course. So, who's right? Of course, this depends on one's perspective. The United States claims it has a trade imbalance of hundreds of billions of dollars. It is not fair. Canada and the European Union accuse you of breaking international trade regulations. You're harming us. We will fight back. China, for its part, maintains it is also targeting me. This protectionism will damage the global economy. According to sources, the Trump administration may utilize this decision to gain political traction at home. Labor unions, particularly in industrialized regions, may appeal to the rhetoric of protecting the industry. However, the possibility of the United States becoming isolated on a global scale grows. A full-fledged response by big players like Canada and the European Union may drive Washington into an isolated position in global trade. How would these events impact global markets? If the trade war worsens, metal prices will climb. Industrial expenses would increase, consumer prices would rise, the possibility of inflation and economic stagnation would arise, stock market volatility, company bankruptcy, and a fresh wave of unemployment might all have unintended consequences. Of course, the diplomatic dimension is as crucial. Tensions may escalate in the G7, NATO, or other multilateral forums when the United States sits at the same table as its partners. The Canadian Prime Minister and European leaders might criticize Trump. What the hell is this? The United States might approach the table with a harsh, "You're either with us or against us" rhetoric. Overall, if we consider politics to be an engaging series, fans are now watching the episode Steel and Aluminum. So, what comes next? There are two major situations. First, the parties get down at the table and work out a compromise. The United States reconsiders tariffs, Canada and the European Union withdraw their retaliatory measures, and everyone takes a step back. Second, no one steps back. A big trade war begins. It devolved into anarchy in a matter of months or years, causing economic devastation to everyone. Which will become a reality? It's difficult to anticipate right now. However, comparable problems have already been handled via diplomacy. The global economy is too vulnerable for countries to launch a massive trade war. As a result, common sense will most likely triumph. However, the Trump administration will find it difficult to forsake the "I'm protecting the defense industry" or national security justifications. If Canada and the European Union do not back down from their stance that you treat us unfairly, we will hit you back. Tensions may rise. At this point, one of the most crucial indicators to observe is how Canada and the EU will respond. If significant tariffs are imposed on essential American items, like agricultural products, private brands, or even the technology industry, lobby organizations in the United States may exert pressure on Trump. This might be a factor in pressing for a resolution without increasing the conflict. Finally, Canada and the European Union responded jointly against the United States' 25% steel and aluminum tariffs. The demise of the alliance is currently the most hotly debated issue on the global economic sites. Some claim it's only a matter of enduring a rainy spring. Others claim we are on the verge of a historic rupture. We'll see what path this argument takes. Perhaps we are witnessing one of the most significant challenges in a century of transatlantic relations. Perhaps diplomacy will prevail and everything will return to normal. What are your thoughts? Will this retaliatory trade war fundamentally alter the global system? Or is there a lasting solution on the horizon? Please leave your remarks. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and enable alerts. If you liked this post, please show your support by clicking the like button. See you next time, and goodbye.